Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic Euro Podcast 2024. This is our second episode. No Scott this evening. He's out wearing a very, very bad shirt. I think he's in a stag do. There's some cracking photos of him. So, enjoy yourself, Scott. But with me, as usual, is Ben. You there, mate?
I'm here, mate. You okay?
Yep, all good. All good with your sound, all good with video. I reckon it's just a delay when Scott's here. It seems perfect tonight.
Yeah.
Unless it's because you're back downstairs, mate.
Yeah. Well, like I say, we were messing around with the technology last week. My computer said no. Computer says no.
And joining us is Matt Woolley. Always good to have you on, Matt. You there, mate?
Yeah, I'm here. Evening all.
I feel
listening for the Euros
with your,
next week.
With your England flag.
Yeah, no. A few weeks off the fantasy football and the football in general. Now buzzing for the Euros, obviously. So yeah, really looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to have the Euro fantasy in there as well. It just carries you over to the new season, doesn't it?
Totally, and kind of a bit of fun with it, I think, as well. It's can take some punts. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. Short format. It's like cricketers, isn't it? Playing test matches and then going to the 2020. Different game, this. Different
100%.
Game. But yeah, good to have you on, mate. Right. Obviously, not much to talk about. Obviously, I know you've probably all filled your teams with England players after that absolute demolition of Iceland. I've not been watching much football last week or so with these internationals, but I trust that England absolutely smashed them with their world-beating squad, with all the greatest players in the world: Foden, Bellingham, Kane. So, how many England players have you got?
I think I'm on three England players in my current draft, actually, Tony.
Has that dropped since the Iceland game?
That's probably dropped since the Iceland game, slightly. Yeah, I mean, it was, by all accounts and by sort of my eyes on it as well, not the greatest night of English football. Typical of that sort of just before the Euros, all the hope building up, and then that happens.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter at the end of the day, does it? We've got the Euros now ahead. It starts counting next weekend.
Yeah, I'd be really concerned if that were the first game of the tournament.
100%.
Very, very concerned. It would start to look like something's gone seriously wrong. But yeah, I don't think defensively we're that great. I'd have probably took Branthwaite from Everton, if I'm honest. I think we might have, with Maguire's injury, might have left ourselves a little bit light. But I think we need to play to our strengths, England. They need to go forward. Go forward, attack. Take the pressure off that defence. But anyway, right, we're going to jump straight into the questions. Obviously, we'll touch on England throughout the course of the pod. We was trying to get Baz on as well, weren't we, for a Scotland insight. And what his hopes for the tournament are. But I don't think we'll be able to squeeze him on now before the tournament starts, unless he wants to come onto the deadline stream and tell us why we should be putting McTominay in for the first game against Germany. Anyway, just a shout out to David Parker, who's in the chat, and anybody else that's joining us and listening. Drop a hi in there. We'll give you a shout out. Great to have you listening. Anybody who's new to the Patreon, I know we've got quite a few sign-ups over the last week or so. Obviously, going into the Euros, getting into the Discord for that. Obviously, we've got the current Dream Team winner in the Discord, which isn't too bad to have. Massive help in this Discord. So, right, questions. Nobbles, new member, I'm guessing, because I've not heard from Nobbles before.
New member.
So, great to have you in, mate. We appreciate the support, and hopefully you get out what you want from joining the Patreon. He's after the best value player in each position. We'll start with that one first. He has got 4 questions there. Yeah, we'll start with the first. Best value player in each position, Matt.
Getting value for money with four questions as well in the first for the new membership, which is great, and
The money's worth.
always good to see lots of questions. So I'm going to work. I think I'll work back from the front backwards, because I think the goalkeeper is going to be my last position to fill, to be honest. So that's going to depend on how much money. So up front, I really wanted to have João Felix in my side as my third striker for Portugal. 4.5 million, but he's, to be fair, for Portugal, he's not on great form. He's rotated with Lau as well, I think, when he's been there. So that's not possible. I think you can look at Füllkrug and Havertz for Germany potentially, but I'm currently on Dovbyk for Ukraine, who is in at 3 million, and I'm not going for the three biggies up front. So that is actually where I am currently. Currently going with a value player. I guess the other player you could look at is from Georgia, Kvaratskhelia.
Just say Kvaradona. That's what the Napoli play.
Kvaradona, yeah,
Kvaradona.
Kvaradona. Kvaratskhelia. Tried 3 times, got closer each time, maybe, hopefully. But 3 million, and he faces Turkey, Czechia, and Portugal. So the first 2 games, he's got a chance of actually getting some goals. He's been in, he's scored for them, and they look all right. Georgia,
they do score some goals, Georgia,
don't they? Exactly. Going forward, they look okay.
I know. I mean, they're not keeping many clean sheets, but they've got a goal in them against the big sides as well.
Yeah. So I kind of like those. I am actually going for a cheapie up front at the moment. And in midfield, Declan Rice, I think, is great value at 3 million for England. He is one of the 3 players you asked how many England I still had.
Yeah,
he's one of them. Jorginho on penalties for Italy, and #target Albania in the first game. But then you've got the problem. They've got Spain next up. From a Spurs angle, Dragusin in defence, going back into defence then, is for Romania. They've got Ukraine, then Belgium, Slovakia. So many sides. So you want players from seem to have a really tough second game. Match day 2 is going to be quite difficult to navigate, I think.
Yeah.
And it's only 3 transfers in Dream Team. You're probably not bringing players out to bring them back in vast quantities. Don't know. And I'm sure we're going to talk about England at length, but there's options depending on who we think is going to play there. Albeit that performance against Iceland defensively, as you said, Tony, not particularly great. So I think that coming back onto the goalkeepers, said I was going to go there last. Basically, whatever money I've got left will go into a goalkeeper then, and that could well be the 1.5 million keeper that I've seen. So I've kind of taken a few weeks, kind of not really interacting in any of the social groups or on any of the formats of fantasy football, but have looked into the Discord, and obviously Dubravka's being talked about by many as the 1.5 million option. But if I had, to be frank, if I had 4 million left over by that point, I'd probably go into England again. Pickford and up there, Dubravka 1.5, Lunin for Ukraine 2.5. Galashi for Hungary, also 2.5. So that's going to be where I look at how much I've got left and spend it.
Yep, it's a good shout. You covered quite a few there, Matt. What do you reckon, Ben?
Just go over some that I think haven't covered. So, I'll start with forwards. Gakpo had a great World Cup for the Netherlands, 4 million. Obviously, we had more teams in the last World Cup, so we could edge our bets a bit. So I had Gakpo at the start, and he done me a cracking job. Also, Depay is only 3.5 million. Not very good prolific record at the minute, but he does do well for Netherlands in tournaments. And he has took penalties I think he scored a penalty in the qualifiers, but obviously Van Dijk's been named by the manager as the main penalty taker. I really like the look of. Go on.
What a kicking dick for the Dutch forward lads like Gakpo and Depay. I mean, they if they get a penalty, They were stood behind Van Dijk going, "Go on, balloon it, won't they?" Yeah, don't put your centre out. Come on,
A strange one. That.
not when I'm pretty sure was Depay not taking him in the World Cup.
I think you're right going back there.
Yeah.
And imagine the stick like Jurgen Klopp would have got if when he had that strop with Mo Salah the next match, penalty given. I stepped Virgil van Dijk to take the penalty.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't do it, can you?
Yeah, can't believe it.
Yeah, and the other cheap one I like is Benjamin Sesko for Slovenia. He's got 5 goals in qualifiers, 2 assists, and he's playing for RB Leipzig. Looks like a good player. He's been linked with Arsenal for next season.
Yeah,
He's been linked. He's been compared to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So he's a tall player with lots of skill. So I'll be interested to see how he gets on. In midfield, I can't look past Shaqiri for 2.5 million. I think that's a bargain for Switzerland. He's on penalties, free kicks, corners, basically everything. So a good little enabler. And Switzerland seem to be a solid side in the tournaments. They usually get through to the last 16 at least.
yeah.
And obviously we get the unlimited transfers after the group stages, so you can change your team. Ericsson, 3 million, same situation as Shaqiri, pens, set pieces. And Szoboszlai for Hungary, 3.5 million on everything, as well as a talisman for Hungary. Hungary's a solid team. In defence, I really like that Hansko for Slovakia. 2 goals, 3 assists in qualifiers from defence, 8 games. Had a cracking season for Feyenoord as well in the Dutch league. Mittelstad, obviously, he's the cheapest way into the Germany defence, 3.5 million. And Frimpong's put his hand up. I know it's a bit dearer, 4 million, but if he's playing right wing for the Netherlands and he scored in his last game as well, they haven't played together yet, but they're on about putting Dumfries and Frimpong down the right hand side. So I'll be interested to see how that gets on. But we don't know because in the last friendly they didn't play together. So be interesting that one. Gehi for 3 million for England as well. Looks like he might be starting, so it might be the cheapest way into the England back line. Now Maguire's out, injured, and another cheapie for Ukraine, Matvienko. He's nailed at centre back for Ukraine, so I think Ukraine's group's a decent group, so they might get a few clean sheets there. And in goal, you've mentioned Dubravka. I think the Romanian goalie could be interesting. Moldovan, 1.5 million. He got 5 clean sheets out of 8 in the qualifiers as well. And like I say, it's a steady group that with Ukraine in it, Romania, and I think it was Slovakia and Belgium.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it? I mean, you lads have covered pretty much all of it. One of the big ones, I think probably the biggest value on the game is Szoboszlai. I think at 3.5 million. I think he is the main one. I think Doku's a good option at 5 million. We know how well he is on the player performance marks. He's tried, tested. You know what you're getting with him. He's attacking. Whether he scores or assists, it doesn't matter. He can still pick up on performance marks and bonus marks. So I like him. He's currently my side. Defensively, I like Frimpong. I like Mittelstadt. I also like Dalot at Portugal. I think he's a bit of value. He's got Czech Republic. And he scored a couple of goals against them the last time they faced off. I think they played in the qualifiers. I think Portugal won 4-0. So they got a clean sheet and a couple of goals, which should have been. I think he got an assist actually as well. So with a massive haul. So a repeat of that would be nice at first game. I might even captain him. But yeah, there's a nice group there for Portugal. I can't see any problems with them navigating their way through that group. So I think he's a bit of value. Again, keeper, same boat as you, Matt. He's pretty much the last that goes in there. I think there's some good options at 1.5 million. That if these new points awarded for the player performance marks to keepers, if some of these keepers do get peppered, there is a lot more hope for them to get more points, even with losing the clean sheet. So, yeah, I think the value's around between 1.5 million and 2.5 million for your keeper.
I think you kind of taught us over the last season how high you got with at times not having a keeper in the main game. With those point changes, I think it's more you're going to need a playing keeper, but it doesn't necessarily need to be the one who's the star keeper of the tournament getting the Golden Glove.
That's it.
Exactly.
If things would have allowed me and I'd been able to get to a keeper earlier throughout the normal season, even if they were only picking up 2-3 points a game, I'd have possibly have finished in top 21. But obviously, if I'd have made the keeper change, it would have stopped me making another change, which could have impacted mid-points heavily. Say for like bringing Cole Palmer in or Nicholas Jackson, whoever it was that did quite well for me, Cunha. So yeah, you can play without a keeper. It's not advised. Just have one that's at least getting peppered every game, I'd say. And I think you've pretty much covered everyone else. I do like, I know obviously you're going the Ukrainian up front, Matt. I like this Saigankov, Ukraine. Obviously had a cracking season at Girona. After the last pod, he's been linked with Arsenal. I know Scott dropped it in saying, what do you know that we don't? He's a massive scout, but I think there'll be a lot of eyes on him from across Europe. I don't think he's that big of a secret. Very good player. So he's still sat in my team at the minute. But yeah.
How much is he?
He's 2.5 million. So he does give you that flexibility to have 3 big hitters up front. But yeah, still up in the air what I'm going to do with that. I think we've got 3 or 4 big days ahead before the Friday deadline, and obviously we're doing a deadline stream, and some of the decisions really do need making. But there's a lot of good value players out there. Gakpo, I like that shout, Ben. Great tournament last time. 4 million. I mean, he can outscore Ronaldo, I think, easily. They've not got the worst groups, the Netherlands, Poland, Austria, France. You can see goals in all them games. Yeah, lots of good options.
Yeah.
Second question. Oh, so go on.
Sorry, no, you just mentioned 3 or 4 big days ahead, and I think it really is, isn't it? Because everything we say right now, one crucial injury to a player, one bit of news that we know, a couple of questions of is this player going to be better than that player coming up? All of them, we might get that bit of information over the next few days, which are all of a sudden an enabler's guaranteed to play all the matches in place of an injured player. And it's, exciting times from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, like you say, very short format as well. So when things change quickly, you don't really have much time. You don't have much time to, I'd say, a Cole Palmer this year that gradually grew into like a must-have player. Within a tournament setting, you've got to be on these players very quick, if not from the start, to do very well. So, yeah, you've got to get the big decisions right a hell of a lot quicker in these shorter formats. We'll see who does it. Just a big hello to Nathan Wisby in the chat. Arwen Vaughan, good to have you back, mate. Nice to have you listening. I'll leave you two to discuss this while I just go and grab myself a couple of tins. Trent, yes or no? What do you reckon, Ben?
Yep. I'll just quickly shout out the new members as well. We've got Walking Football, Dan Morton, Carl Anderson, Nobles, Miss Snoopy, Sam Taylor, Ash Ingram, and Gary. Thanks for joining the Patreon. So I'm thinking.
Did I just hear Ash Ingram?
Yeah, he's back.
The Orky Corky man.
Yeah, he's in. He's out.
You want Ash in, you want Ash out, in, out, shakes it all about. Welcome back, Ash.
Welcome back.
Representing Wales. Oh, they're not in the Euros, are they? Sorry. Sorry.
That's his subscription cancelled.
Yeah. Isn't that for anyone following the general election campaign? Isn't that one of the many things, obviously, that Rishi Sunak has done, which was when he was in Wales?
That's brilliant.
He was asking, they were looking forward to the Euros.
Isn't it great when these politicians try and look like they're in the know and down to earth, and oh yeah, you're looking forward to the Euros. Yeah, we're not in that, mate. It's cringy, isn't it? Really cringy. Anyway, back to Trent. Oh, sorry, just as well. If you can hear that rain, I do apologise for the sound quality. I'm sat in a conservatory here, and it's summertime, middle of June almost. But I am from the northwest in Lancashire. So yeah, this is our summer. It is absolutely tonking it down. It has been doing it for days. So I do apologise about the sound quality, but yeah. Trent, yes or no, then?
Well, obviously, if he's playing midfield for England, it's a yes. 5 million, bit dear, obviously, for a defender. But if he's out of position and he's on set pieces, he was on set pieces the other night when he started. He's got the number 8 shirt as well in the squad, which could be quite telling. So if he's going to start, that's definite for me. And he's going to get the clean sheet points, and he's a bonus magnet, isn't he? What do you think, Wally?
So I'm going to go no. I think you probably get a lot of points off of Trent if you bring him in. A couple of reasons I'd give no. First of all, is I don't think his place is guaranteed for, what would it be, 270 minutes for the first 3 games. I think there's going to be some rotation there. I can see the Trippier and Walker option at fullbacks. I can see others in defensive midfield. So I'm not 100% convinced yet he's in. The bookies have him in as sort of 75% chance of playing the first match from the start. So they think he will, but not certain. And he's expensive. And I think there are other options at the back. And he's only he's not that much cheaper than some of the players in midfield like Bellingham and Fernandes, if that's where you put your money in as a midfielder. So I'm a no at the moment, but I think that is, when you talk about getting big decisions right, that is a decision that could cost me quite quickly.
Yeah, it's one you'd have to be very quick to revert to. So see, if he did play and he did well in the first game, you'd expect him to start the second game. And then that is where that decision would have to come in, where do I jump on him? Do I not? Have I missed the ball that quickly? There's a lot of talent in that England side. There's a lot of talent in midfield. I mean, I don't know whether I'm biased, but I think in that defensive midfield role, you've got to play Adam Wharton. I think I've been banging on about him on this pod for however long, 18 months. He's unbelievable. He's shown the other night when he came on for England, he just makes the game look so easy. So easy.
Didn't lose the ball once, did he?
No, he's unbelievable.
100%.
Yeah, and I cannot disagree about how good he is. So he's one of those players who I'm going against for some reasons related to price and minutes, perhaps. But I'm not going to be. Well, I am going to be enjoying it, of course, if he does really well, even if I don't have him, because he's that would be great news for England. But at the moment, I'm not taking that punt. Well, I'm probably taking a bigger punt by not playing him, to be honest.
I think if you are going to play the goal boost, though, I think he's a great player to start with in game week 1.
That's a great shout.
Potential goals, and obviously you're getting 10 points instead of 6 for a goal. Then you can move off him after that for Denmark if you don't fancy him after that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you are playing goal booster, you really do need these players that, like say, set plays, are going to be scoring goals, basically, or having chances of scoring goals, maximising your chance to maximise that chip. Trent is one of them. I'm not wholly against it. I'd like to know his story. If I knew his story in that first game, I think he's pretty much in my side. There is a doubt, though. And for that reason, I'm still very 50-50 on him. Right, on to Noble's third question, sorry. Are Mbappe and Kane essential? Ben?
Well, if you go against them and they bang, and I mean it, you'll be well behind if they have a couple of goals each. Like Mbappe's 58% owned and Kane is 47.9% owned. So, I mean, it's risky if you want to do it, and obviously they're quiet and your player does bang, then you're laughing and you're going to be ahead. But sometimes it's better just to stay with the crowd and then reassess the week after. They've got decent fixtures as well, the first game.
Yeah, I think all the big hitters, don't they? They all have a nice first fixture. I don't think there's anybody that you go, yeah.
Which one are you going against, Willie?
So I'm definitely having Mbappe in, and I'm definitely having Kane in. So Mbappe, I think if you go against Mbappe, you're an absolute fool, I'd say. But anyone who is, fine. Good choice, good gamble. It's a short format, gambles pay off. So, fine. But I think there's a chip strategy that I'll talk about in a minute, which you could possibly go against Mbappe in your starting 11 in that first match. And they've got harder matches in game 2. But I think Mbappe's, he's in the World Cup that we just had a couple of years ago. He scored twice as many goals as anyone but Messi, who was also up there. So I think he can't go against him. And Kane, I think we've got a group that's fairly decent. And if we play better than we played against Iceland, which isn't guaranteed, but Kane could be in the goals as well. And he's obviously England's top scorer, well ahead of that great legendary Wayne Rooney in second. But he is Kane's going to be hard to back against, and I'd be hiding behind the sofa. So I'm not going for Ronaldo. I'm not going for Lukaku personally. Those are the two I'm not going for. I think Ronaldo, the age is. I can craft an argument in my head that says he's been playing in Saudi, he's scored lots of goals. He has scored goals in Portugal's qualifiers, but they've been playing some medium and weaker sides as part of that. I can craft an argument that in my head goes, I can see a future where he's not going to be banging them in at this Euros. I think he will, because frankly, when he posts all his pictures on social media, he still looks like he's 29, not 39. And he keeps himself in that nick where he is going to be able to put them away. But it does mean I can spend money elsewhere. So I'm definitely going with Mbappe and Kane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. I'd say yeah. I know England's performance the other night isn't great, but he's got the which was it, the World Cup in Russia where he got the golden boot, Kane?
Yeah,
for all the penalties, and he was so far off at that tournament. He looked like he was so leggy. He looked like he was wanting to collapse at some points. and he was still on the pitch, and he just kept taking penalties and scoring. And I think that shows what can happen. He could be the top scorer again in the Euros.
Yeah.
So he's got that knack. If it's not just penalties, he's top drawers, Kane. He's such a good player. It'd be scary not to have him, wouldn't it?
And like I say, penalties to play a big part in the game. And with it being an international tournament, I would imagine there'd be quite a lot of penalties. It's not like in the Premier League where they let a few go. I think this is going to be like penalties galore for little things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in tournament football, I think they are a little bit harsher, I'd say, because obviously it's knockout competition. They're very short format, so it's not like, oh, well, it's all right, it'll even itself out over the course of the season, how the saying goes. So, yeah, I think penalty taker is pretty important. Matt, I know you said you're not going for Lukaku. He's my third man at the minute. I think he scored a hell of a lot of goals in qualifying. And again, the opposition weren't too bad. But I think he scored 14 goals in qualifying.
Yes.
That's silly. And I do remember, obviously, every time we come round to a tournament, it's always been a few years since we've last seen the international football usually. But Lukaku at tournaments is a different animal. He comes into these tournaments and I think he's a bit of a beast. It goes back to his bully days where he's throwing defenders around, and he plays well for Belgium. So with that being said, and a very nice looking group with Slovakia, Romania and Ukraine, I think Belgium, like Portugal, have got pretty much a shoe-in through that group. They're sorted. And I think having Lukaku, and I've also got Doku in my team at the minute as well as a double. I think that's a wise way to go. As well, I do think England have got a good group. Denmark, I don't think they'll pose as many problems. I think we'll probably dispatch them 1 or 2-0. Yeah, we've got a couple of other good games with Slovenia and Serbia. If I am looking up there, it's not because I'm looking up at whether these lads are going to finish this pod. I'm looking up. There's a wall chart on my wall. I was doing that last pod. Scott thought I were falling asleep or going to go over the mouth, but
yeah. I want you to send me one of them. I'll sort it after the pod.
Do you know? So I've got 4 to send out tomorrow morning. So if you are listening, you've bought one. They are going out tomorrow morning. I'm just waiting on my tubes. I don't want to fold them, you see. I'm sending them out in tubes because you fold them and they're ruined, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've got 3 left, Ben. I don't know how many orders have gone in now.
Yeah, don't fold them because I'm one of your viewers / listeners who's bought one.
Yeah,
so
you are. Sorry. Yeah, they're going out tomorrow. No, I've got one. I've got one tube, Matt. I've got one tube. I've got 4 orders with 1 tube, but my tubes arrive tomorrow morning, so they'll be all out tomorrow.
I will reassure anyone it's very, very quick delivery from Tony's company.
But yeah, so you're going to sort that, Ben. Get there quick because I am actually going to have to just take them off site, so I won't be ordering anymore. Right, yeah, where was we? Start selling things. Right, so we've done that, and then last one from Novels: Chinese or Indian? The last time I answered a question like this, we had to cut all of it out, didn't we, Ben?
Yeah.
But,
we can't put it out now. It's live. You have to be careful what you say.
It is live. But that were on about the price of a Chinese and Indian, weren't it? So we'll be all right. For me, always an Indian. I love a curry. I love a good curry. So I do like Chinese food. It's just, since I've been with my missus 13 years, we've never once ordered a Chinese. We're both Indian people. So, yeah. What about you, Ben?
Do you know what? I do like an Indian, but Indian doesn't like me the next day. We went for an Indian, didn't we? We went to Coventry for that Dream Team meetup.
Yeah.
Next day weren't too good. Probably not the 15 pints of lager in Guinness.
Nah, nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Yes, but yeah, I like them both. I can't really pick between. It depends what mood I'm in, really.
Yeah.
I'd have to say I'm probably on the Indian as well. I mean, I live in a village down here down in parochial southwest of England, and we don't have a Chinese that delivers to us. That's the first thing. But I overall love an Indian. They do agree with me as long as I don't do what I normally do, which is always order far too spicy. And yeah, in Coventry also wasn't feeling too great the next day, but I don't think that was the Indian either. It was also pints and drinks in general. So
12 hours. 12 hours of drinking usually upsets your body, doesn't it?
I know. And when a bar that opened until 3 a.m. in the morning was found, I wasn't banking on that, to be honest. I was thinking we'd be done earlier. That was great. It was a great day. Great meet up with everyone from the Tonic. So that was great. But Indian and chicken jalfrezi, I'd say.
Lovely. There is a little bit in that. I think we might head back down to Coventry at some point this year. But that's something in the pipeline. We'll discuss. I'm currently chatting with Jordan. But there might be another meetup. Might try and get it on a Saturday, maybe. We'll see about that anyway. So that's one to think about. Right, Andy Barnett. Now, I nearly fell all the way up to Andy Barnett's question because it's only 2 lines long. I don't know exactly what I mean about this. But Andy, great to have your questions as usual, mate. If you had to use a booster on game day 1, this bloody rain, Jesus Christ. If you had to use a booster on game day 1, which one would you use, and what makes it better for game day 1 than the other 2 boosters? What do you reckon, Ben?
I'm still 50-50 between the 12th man and the goal boost. Obviously, goal boost, you can get all your set piece players in, your penalty takers, even your attacking defenders, get them all in for the first game. And then you can move off the expensive defenders if you don't want them later on, and you can move on to something a bit more exciting in midfield. And obviously, with the 12th man, if you're a bit worried which of the big hitters are going to go off and you want to go big up front, you can get all 4 of them in. Your Lukaku, Kane, Mbappe and Ronaldo. So at least you can cover everything. But you can't captain your 12th man. So if you're going to do that, make sure that you're not bothered about having... make sure that... the one you do 12th man, you're not going to captain, and you're not going to have him for the week after unless you bring him in for a transfer. But surely you plan longer term with your strikers and have them in for the 3 at least, or the 2, and then when the 3rd game, if the player's through, he might not play in the 3rd game, so you could maybe move him on for something a bit more exciting, a bit of a gamble. Yeah. We get unlimited transfers after that anyway, don't we? So we can bring them back in again.
Yeah. Would you like to captain?
I'm not fussed about max captain yet. I think there's lots of good options. So, obviously max captain, you definitely nail the captaincy, which is good. But I'm thinking about later on when it's a bit more. So maybe in the 3rd game, you don't really know who's going to play at the minute because we don't know who's going through. You could max captain then, and then someone random in your team might come off with a good score.
Yeah. Would you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, I think so. Starting with max captain, which is the one I wouldn't do in game week 1 either. I think lots of arguments for other game days. Match day 2, lots of sides have got their hardest match. Lots of sides with players we captain have got their hardest match. So Kane with Denmark, Mbappe with Netherlands. So you could argue it might be just someone random in your team who's going to go off in that match and they blank. So there's that, or potentially something like the quarterfinals. There'll be some sides with really hard games, and somebody might have caught a lucky one with some team who they'll put to the sword still there. So I think Matt's captain I'd leave because there's a kind of defensive aspect to that of protecting against players who are going to not have a good game. You might otherwise captain. I think so. Therefore, 12th man. So if I'm not going with Lukaku or Ronaldo in my starting 11, that seems pretty obvious, to be honest. That seems I'd probably be 12th manning them in. There's another option of Italy, so target Albania as one of the weakest sides in the group. So if you can work out who Italy are going to play up front, whether that's Scamacca or if you haven't got Jorginho in already on penalties, maybe that sounds low value, but I don't mind that too much. And I do like goal bonus, so that might change my strategy around entirely if I was to play goal bonus. But you've got, when else are you going to play goal bonus? So you're not going to probably play it in match day 2 when you've got some of the big hitters' hardest matches. Match day 3 rotation, perhaps around 16. There could be some big sides with easier games still at that point, first in their group against third in the group, and there could be extra time, so that gives extra minutes as well. So there's an argument there. So I think if I had the 3 big hitters in my side, I would be going goal bonus in match day 1. I've got a real decision, so I've got a side that's pretty packed with potential goals. I'm just missing Ronaldo and Lukaku.
That's the problem, isn't it?
It is.
That is the problem. Just to add a little bit more there, maybe. What am I going to do? I'm pretty much the same as Ben. I'm 50-50. The benefits of maybe 12 man in the first week with the big hitting strikers, you probably know that them 4 are going to play. So it's a pretty safe bet. And then saving the goal boost for the second match day. One, nobody can qualify after one match day. So they're going to have to play the strongest sides in the second match day. You have a round of fixtures that have already been, so you already see pretty much who they want to be playing, who is going to be like the first choice 11. So you've got a hell of a lot more knowledge on who is playing, who isn't playing in the second match, in the second game week. So maybe the goal bonus is better saved for the second week. Because as well, another point to make about the second game week is if there's a team that have lost their first game or losing their second game, they have to go for it. Because otherwise they're out. You're very, very rarely getting through anywhere with 3 points. So, I think that could open things up towards maybe the last half hour of games in the second game week. I'm not too sure what the goal stats are on there. I think I know the last final games of the group stages are usually the most prolific, but they're also the most sporadic. Like the players that are playing, you get a few that are rested. There's a lot of rotation goes on, which might add to the goals, but you just don't know who's going to score them. So I might be edging towards goal booster 2, 12 man first week, max captain, maybe just save it and use that in one of the knockout rounds when, like Matt said, it gets a bit more difficult for teams. And really, you don't know who's going to go off. And it's just a case of nailing that one player who goes off. Yeah, good question, Andy. I like that one. And they were easy to read, mate. Very easy to read.
Not that easy to answer, and it's still got me a little bit spinning on of what the chip strategy is going to be, to be honest. So
yeah, I mean, again, so with these short formats, we're not used to having a chip strategy. We used to just we'll pick the players and we'll try and get them right. Whereas now we're not only having to pick the players, we're trying to fit them into a strategy around 10 points for a goal. Like you said, the max captain, max captain is pretty much just a wild card in there. You could use that at any point and it could prove really fruitful. But getting your 12 man right, using that at the right time, especially the goal booster, is going to make or break the whole tournament, I think. So DT Philip, after the England game on Saturday, do you think Gordon is going to be in the starting lineup for the first 11 for the first game? What do you reckon, Ben?
I don't think he'll start. I think he'll use him as an impact player. Obviously, he's very exciting and he just runs at people, doesn't he? I think he's just going to go with Foden on the left. By the looks of the squad numbers as well, he's given Foden number 11 shirt. So, yeah, I think Foden will be playing on the left. I'd be surprised if Foden plays 10 and then, say, a Gallagher and Rice play in midfield. So, yeah, I think obviously Bellingham will start. So I think Bellingham will play 10. Foden will play left wing. So he'll come on as an impact sub, I think. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I'm more convinced. I think after the last couple of games, even if the performance of other players on the pitch doesn't necessarily justify it from those games, I'm more convinced it's Kane, Foden, Bellingham, Saka. I don't think Gordon starts, and if there's a 33% or whatever chance you want to imagine that he does start, I'm not taking that risk.
No.
If someone told me Gordon was starting, then fantastic. But it's going to take something along those lines for me to have Gordon in.
Yeah, I've sung his praises all season. Very, very good player. He's come on leaps and bounds since coming to Newcastle. He looks a really complete player. Really, really enjoy watching him defensively, attacking. He really is a well-established player now. But I agree with you, Ben. I think he will be impact. I don't think you could shift Bellingham from the 10 role. I think it makes complete sense. If you're trying to fit Bellingham, Saka, and Foden into that forward line, that is the way you do it. Foden left, Saka right, Bellingham behind, Kane up top, and then you've got your two holding, probably Rice and another, possibly Gallagher. Who I think's had a cracking season at Chelsea. He's looked really good. But I still think Gordon can have a massive impact on the tournament. There's nothing to say that. I think 65, 70 minutes, it might even work in his favour because he's got he's got great tenacity, he's got smashing pace, he runs at people, he frightens them. He's really, really good. So, yeah, it could be a big tournament for Gordon, even though he isn't starting, but he won't go in my dream team. Ben, you touched on this earlier about positioning, obviously, in the Dutch team. Who's the better pick, Dumfries or Frimpong?
Dumfries was fantastic in the last tournament. Had him in the team. Yeah, flying up and down the wing. But yeah, I think if Frimpong's going to play as a right forward or as a right winger, I think it's a no-brainer to get him in. Really, 4 million as well. It's a bit cheaper than Dumfries. Dumfries will still do well, but like you say, Frimpong's going to get more chances of scoring, more chances of assists, and obviously clean sheets if they get clean sheets. So Frimpong's my pick out of them too.
Yeah. Do you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, can't go far wrong with that. I think Frimpong from those two. I mean, if you remember back, I can't even remember if it was the last World Cup of the Euros, albeit they were only a year apart, where Dumfries, the tournament was the player to have. And he was coming to the Premier League after it as well, apparently, and Dumfries was the name on everyone's lips. But he may well play right back, right wing back for the Netherlands. Frimpong, when you look at him play, is outstanding, and if he does get that role up there on the right, I'm not 100% sure he will, which is why at the moment I'm going neither. And I'd go, if I'm getting into that Dutch defence, with some goal scoring opportunity is Virgil van Dijk, which comes at a price. But Frimpong, if he's definitely one. If somebody told me he was guaranteed to start on that side, I would absolutely have him in my dream team all day long.
Yeah, if Van Dijk Van Dijk wasn't on penalties, you wouldn't really consider him, would you, for 5 million?
No way. But I mean, he does obviously get up when there's a corner or something like that and score as well. So he's got that
last match, didn't he?
Yeah, totally. So he's expensive. That is, I mean, we'll come to defenders in a second for sort of match day one, but he is really expensive. So that sucks funds out of elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely weakens the team everywhere else. I think they've priced the players really well for this Euros. I think they've made it tricky, but like it's challenging. It means you've got to think a little bit outside the box. You can't just pick who you fancy and have it like what essentially happened kind of with Dream Team mid-season. Budget really just went out the window. It didn't really matter. I'll ask this next question and then we'll have to fire up a bit. It's all this rain. This rain is sending me on a week. So, DT Philip, do I put Lukaku in my team and use the 12th man for Ronaldo? Discuss.
What do you think, Wally?
So I think there's no problem in that whatsoever. Put Lukaku in, put Ronaldo in, use the other on the 12th man. Absolutely fine for me. As I say, I probably will have Kvaratskhelia or Dovbyk in for the 3 million forward, which might force me into a 12th man in that first match for one of those two as well. And I think that when are you going to get a better use of that 12th man? Because I'm not taking Mbappe out of my side for the whole tournament. I'm not taking if they seem fit and in form and still in the tournament. I'm not taking those guys out. So when's there a better opportunity to use it? You could use different chip in game week 1, as we've discussed. So I think put either of those in and 12th man the other. It probably depends what you think of the following two fixtures. And both of them, to be honest, have got decent groups. So I don't really see playing the fixtures with those two either is a big deal between them. So yeah, I think it's a perfectly valid strategy. Ben?
Yeah, I really like that. I think it's a good idea. It's one of the things I'm thinking of doing. So yeah, I'm thinking of bringing in all four of the big hitters and 12th man in it, or I might do the goal boost. But yeah, I think he's going down the same road is what I'm thinking.
And I think it is good in this game to get some points on the board early on in these Euro tournaments. I think you can hold out, which is it has been over the last couple of years for both. Just playing it a bit differently in multiple formats, where I hold back things in different formats of fantasy football. But I don't think in the Euros you can afford to, or the World Cup. So I think trying to get points on the board early is a good idea. When you get to the final and you've got 6 players from one side and 5 from the other, ideally, you're not going to have that opportunity where a 12th man is going to be that helpful. The max captain, whenever you play that, it could get you 0 anyway. And yeah, and the goal bonus, I don't think that helps in something like the final either, because they don't tend to be sort of 7-1s. They have been once in a World Cup, but they don't tend to be that sort of scoreline very often. So I think you do need to go with some of these chips fairly early. That's my opinion.
Yeah, there's more matches, isn't there, in the first rounds, first, second, and third round compared to.
And you generally have good players for good teams against hopefully weaker teams.
Yeah. Yep. What do you think, Tony?
What about Lukaku?
Lukaku and Ronaldo as 12th man.
Yeah. Just touch underneath his question 4 is that Ronaldo hasn't featured. He's playing in a crap league, but he is still Ronaldo, and he scored a hell of a lot of goals in qualifying. So
Yeah.
if I play 12th man, my 12th man will be going on Ronaldo. Currently, I've got Lukaku in my team. I think if you give me the choice between the two, I would have Lukaku in my team. And then if you want to use the 12th man rather than your goal boost, it would be on Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I need to have a bit more of a look into why hasn't he featured? Is it just a case of...
I just had a look. Basically, he played in the King's Cup on the 31st of May.
He ended it in tears, didn't he?
Yeah, he lost on penalties. So he missed the first friendly because he just finished that game, and then he was on the bench for the last one. But I would imagine he's just gone, just take it easy. You've got the tournament coming up. He's going to play every 3 or 4 games, every 3 or 4 days, which is a lot, obviously, for an older fella. But obviously, he's a bit of a fitness freak anyway. But
yeah, he's a machine. Isn't he?
Saying, you have a little holiday. You just come and enjoy yourself, and then we'll get to business when the Euros start.
I mean, it is. I think it's absolutely mental that there's some of these players have had little to no rest. They're coming straight from European finals. I think, was it not the other day that they were an Italian league game?
Yeah.
Like what were going on there? Like they couldn't. I think they couldn't replay it because of the Europa League final and the Conference League final.
Yeah.
So they had to play it like well after the season had finished, and
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But Ronaldo's just that kind of player. You can probably press play on him and he'll go again, even though, and he's just obviously dominates the team in a sense that he is that figure there, and he's just they don't need to practice with Ronaldo, they don't need warm-up matches with him. Press play again and he'll go. That said, as I will consistently say, I'm happy to sort of back against what you've just said. I can create that story in my head, which might go fantastically wrong, which is 31 goals in the Saudi Pro League this season, but what does that mean? 10 goals in 8 Euro qualifiers gets me a bit more worried. And so there is, it could go either way. But I think there could be some rotation. I mean, the point from DT Phillip is, I suppose, well made, which is he going to play all 3 games 90 minutes in the group phase? Does that matter, though? Because he is CR7 Cristiano Ronaldo. So, yeah. I may go against him, but it's not without risk.
Oh, it's massive risk, isn't it? But yeah, if I were to go 12th man first round, Ronaldo's in. If you're asking me to choose between Lukaku and Ronaldo, Lukaku is in my team. So, right, from the strikers to defenders, Driver has been on. Hi, fellas. Best defenders to pick at 2.5 million or below, please. You reckon, Ben? Nice cheapies. I know we did go through quite a lot, didn't we, on last pod, because we were on about the importance of maybe getting your budget enablers from the back. I just want to have a run through some of the names you've got there, mate.
Well, we did run through them for the question at the start. Was it Nobble's question about cheap defenders? Sorry, yeah. But just quickly, Hansko, like I said, 2 million. Matt Vienko for Ukraine, 2 million as well. There's loads of 2.5 million defenders. Obviously, you just got to keep a look at the lineups. There's another one for Belgium, De Bast, it's 2.5 million. I'm just monitoring that. I'm not sure. They've got another friendly tomorrow, Belgium. I've got a hunch with. I put it in Discord today. Yannick Vestergaard, 2.5 million. So cheap way into the Denmark's defense. He's played the last four games at centre back, and he's a pass completion merchant. He got the highest pass completion rate in the championship this season. He's just a bowler. So I think it's a good way into Denmark's defence. They're one of the best defences. They've got the best, I think, second or third best defence odds for the group stages. So I think it's a good way into their defence. Obviously, they play England in the second game. It's a good game to start with him at the beginning. He scored yesterday as well.
Yeah, he's turned his Leicester career around, hasn't he?
Yeah. From zero to hero.
What happened to Ryan Bertrand?
I don't even know where he is now.
I don't.
I think he retired, didn't he?
Oh, God.
I'm going to have to look that up.
From England hopeful to retiree within 2 years.
He played in the Champions League final for Chelsea as well. Remember, he played left wing and they won it as well, like a emergency.
So he got a Champions League medal.
Yeah. He didn't even play in the other games.
Wow.
Yeah, retired. Well, he's not got a club. He's not had a club since 2023.
It's not waste. He was talented, Ryan Bertrand. Was a talented player. Yeah.
I mean, just to add to Ben's list, just going back to when we talk about value defenders, I still think Dragusin for Romania with their fixtures against Ukraine, Belgium in second match, albeit, and Slovakia, he's a good shout. He's got oozes quality, but he obviously hasn't played that much for Spurs this season. But when he was at Genoa, did well, got some goals there. So I think he's got a chance for 2 million. But I think there are a lot of good value players at 3.5. So I think in defence you may go that's 2 million, but you may be able to get 2 or 3 defenders at 3.5 million, which frees up money for the rest of the pitch. So I'm not sure I'm going to need to go for somebody 2.5 or below at the moment in defence, particularly if the goalkeeper is 1.5.
No, if you've got Dovbyk up front.
Well, exactly. That sorts everything out here. Dovbyk up front and Dubravka in goal. That's freeing up a lot elsewhere.
He's a La Liga top goal scorer, isn't he, for Girona?
Yes. Yeah. And he scored in the last friendly, I think, as well. And I think he's nailed part of the side. I think so. I'll check that because I don't want to.
I did mention it on the last pod about maybe just being brave and maybe blocking a couple of the smaller sides with these cheap defences, moving from one block to another, because we only get 3 transfers. I think once you've chosen your front 3, you've got Kane, Mbappe, Lukaku, are you really going to be taking them out for the second game? Nah. Whether they score or not, I don't think you're going to take them out. If you're pretty settled with your midfield, because you've got plenty of funds in there, you're going to take Ford and Doku or Szoboszlai out. No, I don't think you will. So I think when you're making your changes at the end of each game week, whatever you want to call it, round of matches, I am warming towards the idea of having a nice attacking, expensive defender, which could be Trent, it could be Dalot, Cancelo. There's quite a few good options there which might score well. And then having a block of, say, first up Ukraine. They kept a clean sheet against Germany in a friendly the other night. I think they did concede 2 or 3 the other night.
Yeah, I think they were testing some players out the other night because
I think a bit of a I think it was a bit of a different lineup there. So, I mean, you got Svatok, Sabani, obviously Bournemouth,
2.5,
that's 2 million, 2.5 for Zabanya. That's 4 Lunin, 4.5 Lunin. is 2.5 keeper. So you got 7 million there for 3 players. And I mean, to be fair, you've got Romania first up, but then you've got Slovakia second up. That's not bad back-to-back fixtures there, Matt. I can't see any other team that has better ones, better back-to-back out of the smaller sides. Like, obviously, I mean, the likes of Portugal and Belgium, they have good back-to-back games, but out of the smaller sides, they're always hitting that bigger team, like Turkey, because you could have gone Turkey, but then they hit Portugal second round. Ukraine, a little Ukraine block. You heard it here first.
An Eastern
back clean sheets for Ukraine. Ukraine, I've been flying.
Yeah, good work. I mean, when we talk about these sort of moving on for blocks in Dream Team, thank God it's not the Telegraph format of this Euro tournament where you get 50 transfers and you pretty much have to make sort of about 8 during every round and take advantage of fixture swings.
Yeah.
That is this. I think Dream Team has hit the format well this tournament. Actually, this is I think it's really nice.
I think they've nailed the Premier League right off. I think they really have. I think a few little tweaks. There's nothing really I can moan about the Premier League game this season. I think they've done really well. I think the scoring system is great. They've been on it with the player additions. They've been really proactive this year. So fair play to Dream Team for that. And again, with the Euros, first game out, weren't it?
Yeah.
Is that the first time ever they've ever released one of their European competitions or world competitions first? And again, all right, they didn't have all the players on the start, but they've added it. I think it makes for an exciting competition. I think they've done really well. I think if they just dropped the sun from the start of it, I think it's probably one of the most popular games in the UK, definitely. But some really different ways of attacking these weeks, and I think ultimately, I don't know. I think you've got to be brave in these short formats, like you said, Matt. There's a bit of you can go for it a little bit. What's there to lose, really?
Yeah.
Apart from that 150 quid that you put in mini leagues. But just touching on to the Telegraph League, you do have a Telegraph League running as well, don't you, Ben?
Yeah. Are you getting involved, Willie? Yeah,
I will be. I've come sort of late to the party over the last couple of days in prepping for coming on tonight and getting all briefed up. I think I'll be all in on the Euro Fantasy. It was a busy end to April and May for various reasons, and was glad to have a few weeks off fantasy football and now refreshed, recharged, ready to go.
Yeah. Excellent. Just hit me up on Twitter at DT Tonic Ben for the Telegraph Mini League.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Just a quick one as well while we're on and live, because I know obviously football is a big part of everyone's lives. Grassroots to Glory behind me. You'll see the sign. If anybody is involved or part of a grassroots football team, we're offering a very, very generous partnership package. A little bit of scratch my back, scratch your back as regards to our product and funding a grassroots team with sponsorship and with commission. So if you are, drop us an email, info@footyfits.co.uk, and I'll get the partnership pack sent over to you, or just hit you up on Twitter. Anybody involved, like I say, involved, you don't have to be a manager or owner, chairman, whatever. Anybody who thinks that someone might benefit from a bit of generating a revenue stream into the club, we've got a great package available. So, let us know about that. Second part of Driver's question, is football coming home? Ben, Matt, you've both got flags up.
Is it there, doesn't it? It's coming home.
Yeah, well, there you are. He's answered, driver. It is. It says on Ben's wall. But from here, from what I can see, it says it's coming on.
Coming on.
Because the
the
white lettering.
Yeah.
It's coming on.
I think my flag dates right back to the JJB and Umbro era of like 96-ish when that song came out as well, actually.
Hey, that's retro, that flag, isn't it?
It is retro. It's proper retro.
That's before DW.
Yes. Yeah. No, it came out of the found it earlier to put up for the background. But yeah, I mean England are favourites, aren't they? And I think we've got a great chance. Do you know what? It feels like the same as the last couple of tournaments. It could be a penalty shootout away in the final. It could be. We're gonna go close. And how sitting on the fence is this? But yeah, well, let's go for it. England is coming up. It is coming home. We've got to believe it. Whether we like Southgate or not, whether we think he's picked the right squad or not, whatever we think at the moment, we've got to believe it's coming home. Come on.
Crystal Palace are going to be bringing it home, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, it was West Ham last time. Now it's Crystal Palace. Have you seen that France didn't win tonight? They drew 0-0 with Canada.
Again, that's got to be a mixed-up side.
Mbappe played 15, 16 minutes at the end.
Yeah, towards the end.
But it can't just be a one-man team, can you?
No, they've got a decent squad though. France. Yeah. I do think England are favourites. I think if we had a stronger defence, I'd be really, really confident. I do think defensively we're missing Shaw. We're missing that natural left back. Shaw has been brilliant at competitions for us. So we are missing him. Obviously, probably play Trippier left back isn't ideal. I think if it were me, I'd probably put Gomez in there.
Yeah.
If it were me. But Trippier, set pieces. You know what I mean? You want him on the pitch, don't you? You want him on the pitch. I think we've got such a good it's like our fullbacks with Walker, Trent, Trippier. Like they're such attacking threats. Walker's so good at getting up and down that right hand side. Trent, he's passing, he's set pieces. To be fair, he's got a cracking shot on him as well. He's more of a midfielder. Trippier on his set pieces. Everyone we've got in the squad are like top drawer attacking players. Just worries me a little bit the defensive side of it.
I'd play Trent as a left back and then let him wander into midfield.
Do the inverted.
Yeah. So we build up as three at the back. Walker tucks into the three. And then
he's naturally a right centre half anyway, Walker, surely.
Yeah.
He's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah. Ali McCoy was talking about putting him as a centre back, just as a centre back in a two.
Yeah.
It'd give us a lot of speed at the back, wouldn't it?
I honestly wouldn't be. If one manager put him at centre half, I won't think they're crazy. I think they're utilising exactly his strengths. He's a big lad. He's decent enough in the air. He's got good pace. Well, I say good pace. He's unbelievable pace. He's still blitzing these young lads that are 23-year-old that are fast. Yeah. He's still blitzing them and covering. He's unreal. Kyle Walker.
Only thing is, if he plays there, you'd want him out on the right to play against Mbappe if we played France or something.
Yeah. You? And that's why that three works, where you're saying you play with the inverted left back, let him come in field, and then have Walker drop in. And he's always got that pace covering down that right-hand side, then having Stones in middle.
The other thing you need fit players like that, because I was over in Germany in 2006 for the World Cup, out there supporting and watched quite a few games. Both of
great experience.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. But I tell you what, it was hot. It was really hot. So you talk about Qatar in the autumn into winter. It's probably quite hot there, even in winter. But Germany in summer is really, really hot, and it's going to take a lot of stamina, a lot of fitness. It's going use all the players off the bench. When you talk about Gordon coming on as an impact player, all these things are going to be absolutely critical out there. And also, going back there, the Germans, when we talk about football coming home to England, and obviously it is home here, it's not Scotland where they also claim it was started, and I don't think it's coming home to Scotland. They might get
We'll have to get Baz on to clarify that.
Yeah, Baz, they might get on. They might get through to the knockout round, but I don't think it's coming home to Scotland. Germany will probably be singing at times "It's Coming Home" because they kind of adopted that song as well. And that the home advantage for Germany will not be insignificant. They do back their side over there as well. If they can pull out of the sort of semi-stasis they've had recently, where it's not looked great, but I think it's going to be a fantastic tournament. I'm really looking forward to it.
The Euros, really enjoy the Euros. I don't know. I think we have such good quality within the Euros. I think the European teams actually make the World Cup. I think it's like the European teams, the South American teams, they pretty much do it. Again, the home advantage for Germany, massive. They are in a transitional period, aren't they? They've gone into a bit of a lull, trying to bring players through, losing some of the bigger hitters. But home advantage, massive for them. Havertz, a man in form up top, who I think does prove good value for the home nation in this tournament. Could really have a good tournament. You wouldn't be surprised to see Havertz get golden boot if Germany go far. Belgium, another team, transition. Spain, I touched on them on the last pod, and I always stand by this. I think if they had an out-and-out goal scorer for the last 10 years, I think all tournaments would have just been a formality because they're such a talented team. They've had such talented players throughout, whether that's defence, midfield, all the way through. They just have never had that. Who was the last goal scorer they had? Probably Fernando Torres, possibly. After that, Morata's not quite cut it, has he? I know he's got a decent scoring record for Spain, but when it comes to the big games and the big moments, he's always found wanting. And Spain always got a shout. Germany, England should win it. Right. Fabinho. So if you're playing the goal bonus in match day 1, which way are you going with your best defenders to pick? What do you reckon, Matt?
So I think you've got to look at it 2 ways. You could either go cheap in your defence to invest in all the best goal threats elsewhere. So if you want to fit in your Bruno Fernandes from Portugal in midfield, and your Jude Bellingham, and the 3 big strikers up front, and maybe a Gundogan as penalty taker in midfield, you could go cheap. So you could end up with the Gay, Mittelstadt, and maybe Dragusin, or you might still be able to actually afford Virgil van Dijk as penalty taking for Netherlands. I quite like Italy on this opening match against Albania. So DiMarco, his goal record isn't great, but he has scored when he's got forward some screamers. Absolutely hot from the halfway line, to be fair. On the other side, if Bellanova plays for Italy, which he might do, as a fairly attacking wing back, I think that might be an option. So something like Van Dijk, DiMarco, Bellanova. I'm not sure I want to kind of plan my whole... And it's a bit like park the bus in the main season, where it's probably better to do it in game match day 1, to be honest. Plan around a chip. But I'd almost rather let that defence form as far as I want it for the next 3 games. So I'm not convinced I want to rip up my defence just for that game week 1 goal bonus. But it's tempting.
Just regarding Italy defence, did you see tonight? Italy basically played all the 3 million defenders that are on the game. Probably just testing them all out. Like there's a lot of players that didn't play tonight, like Bastoni and Acerbi, who you'd think would start. So they had Bellanova at right wing back, Cambiasso at left wing back. So DiMarco, you'd think he'd start as well. He didn't play. Calafiori, Buongiorno, and Darmian, all 3 million defenders. So that'll be interesting if they've got another. I don't think they've got any more fixtures now before the tournament starts. They haven't. So
no, I don't think so. They subbed off pretty much the entire rest of the team in that squad, other than those defenders. So
yeah.
Jorginho, Scamacca, Chiesa, etc. They all kind of got subbed off after the hour mark, or just a bit later than that in some cases as well. So. Yeah, you wonder whether that's. You're right. You wonder whether that's. And Bellanova got subbed off, so you wonder whether the others are the ones who are not starting.
Yeah,
that's quite an interesting lineup to look at. That's a very good spot there.
And they started Donnarumma in this match, but they played Vicario in the last match with what the defense you'd imagine will be with Di Lorenzo, Mancini, Bastoni, and DiMarco. So they didn't play the first choice keeper with that game.
Strange one, that.
Very strange.
Yeah. What was the question?
Yeah. So basically, if you are playing the goal bonus, in one, which way are you going to play with your defenders?
I think it's good. I think there's plenty of cheap talisman midfielders to go and attack the attacking defenders. So obviously, if you're going to play this goal bonus in the first week, obviously get your big boys up front, and then you can get a few talismans from the smaller nations, but they're quite good, obviously on penalties and free kicks and whatever. And then you can get Van Dijk 5 million, you get Trent 5 million, Cancelo 4.5, or a Frimpong, something like that. Three big hitters at the back, and then with your free transfers in the next week, then you can change some of them around, bring some of the big hitters in the midfield.
I'll tell you what, mate. I'm just having a flick through there and trying to fit those big defenders in with those big strikers. I just had Trent and Van Dijk. So Trent and Van Dijk with Lukaku, Mbappe, and Kane. Oh, geez, I've got zero budget left. I still need a player. That is with 2 Ukrainians in there. Midfield of Foden, Doku, and Szoboszlai.
Yeah, Doku's got to go. Doku's not a goal scorer. If you're going to play goal booster, he's got to go. You can bring him in next week.
All right. Yeah, so, right, we've got, at that point, we've got 5 million for 2 midfielders. So we're still scraping.
Yeah.
There.
Shaqiri, 2.5.
Yeah, Shaqiri's one of them.
Souček, 2.5 penalty taker for Czech Republic.
They are sorted. Yeah.
You could do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there is ways and means. Would I have Van Dijk? No, so I'll get rid of him. Yeah. And I think that's why they've priced the game well.
Yeah.
I think you can't have a bit of everything. You've got to make choices. They're forcing you to make choices. There's no way around it. Yeah, good question. I like that. He's also asked another question as Fabinho. The best way of getting a likely 11 out of match day 3. Pick a few players from the tough groups, even though that might not be best for the first 2 weeks. What do you reckon, Ben? It's always going to be a tough one because you're not going to know the situation of the teams. As we've seen with, I think, was it Germany in the last Euros, was it? Where they were praying for a result against Hungary in the last game. So they had to play the big hitters. If a team ends up in that situation, and they, Did you say that was he in a group of death? I think it was. Was he that? Did they have France and Portugal? Was it?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, right. So say Germany beat Scotland first game, but then they draw with Hungary second game. They're still not guaranteed.
No.
They're gonna have to play the full team third game. We don't know. You don't really know that third game. That's why planning for the third week, so say for your goal bonus or your structure of your team, or for another chip, you're pretty much doing it blind because there's 2 rounds of games that are really going to set the structure for match day 3. What happens in those 2 rounds of games is going to set what lineups there are, who needs to chase a game, who doesn't. And unfortunately for us, we're only going to have 3 transfers leading into that. Quite possibly we will see the lineups for that match day 3, but we're not going to know what situation teams are in, who will be playing the best sides, who will be not be playing the best sides.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think there's the best way.
No, and I think just to add to that, you've got it's a more complicated group stage into round of 16 thing this year. So you've got third place teams who are going to qualify for that second round. So the advantage of finishing top of the group for many might be a lot better, and also more unpredictable, even going into that final game of working out who on earth you might play. And we know from England the last couple of tournaments, England had a dicey first result last time around, had to play full strength side in the final match. Tournament before that, didn't need to play the full strength side in the last match. People were telling Southgate, we actually want to finish second in the Euros, which were in 2021 from 2020. And he still went and played basically a full strength side to try and top the group, which didn't work out too bad in the end. So there will be a lot of sides who still end up playing strong sides in that final round. I think it's really unpredictable. And do you know the good news, which we're going to come on to in the next question, is that golden 15 minutes going into match day 3, there might be a bit of a solution to getting rid of some players we might want to get rid of.
Yep. You want to add anything to that, Ben?
No, I think covered it well.
Yep. Plev has been on. Info rather than a question. In previous tournaments and this season's European Champions League, team lineups have been released 75 minutes before kickoff. I have noticed that in the European games. They are released a lot earlier. If this is the case for Euro 24, we will see the lineups for Germany's match day 1, Croatia in match day 2, and all of the teams from Group A on match day 3. So that'll be Germany, Hungary, Switzerland, Scotland. So obviously, Germany. I mean, obviously, if Baz were on, he'd be saying that'd be pivotal for getting McTominay and John McGinn and the likes. But yeah, Germany. You get to see Germany's lineup on match day 3. That might help a little bit if you're going to go strong. It is a little bit of a help. Croatia against Albania, match day 2. You fancy that, Matt?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, to be fair, Croatia might be talking about targeting Albania for Italy in match day 1. You might want to pick up a Croatian for that. I think match day 2, you should be certain enough of your players playing in match day 2. I think it's match day 3 that you've just picked up on, where we'll get that Germany team news and potentially even Hungary against Scotland or Baz, Scotland against Hungary news, where you might be able to guarantee a player plays in match day 3. So if you use one of your 3 transfers for a guaranteed player when you don't know what the rotation is going to be like, that might not be a bad shout. So you will know if Fulkrug or Havertz plays up front for Germany. you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know the German back line. You might pick up a Hungarian or a Scottish player, McTominay, who plays. So I think that's those will be guaranteed players in match day 3.
Yeah, and the good thing is that you could do like a gamble like that, a full Krug or something, and then when we get the unlimited transfers before the round of 16, you don't have to keep him, do you? It's just like a little punt you can do.
No.
Yeah.
No, indeed. And just to Pleb's point, the Champions League regs, which are Article 44.03, I think is where it comes from. In the Champions League, it talks about submitting a team 45 minutes before kickoff. That's the Euro 2024 regs. Article 44.01 is very similar in the Champions League, which talks about automatic exchange as well. So there's a slight difference in the wording, but I think the 75 minutes are common. So I think we're going to get them. We're going to get them 75 minutes before.
Happy days.
Brilliant. Helps a little bit. Obviously, going through into the tournament, it makes more of an impact for us. Right, Nobbles again. He is getting his money worth. Players to avoid in all positions, 4 million plus. I like this question. It's a little bit different. Have you got some players you would definitely avoid for that price structure, Matt?
So I think, who would I avoid at 4 million plus? Goalkeepers, I've got 2 answers. Answer 1 is all of them, because there's much better value. But I am building backwards. So if I somehow happen to end up with 4 million plus, probably Pickford, I wouldn't avoid, and I'd just avoid everyone else. But I think you don't need a 4 million plus keeper. Defenders, there's an argument to avoid Trent that we went through earlier on the basis of minutes, but there's a definite argument that he could be an explosive player with clean sheets and attacking returns. So that's a careful one. I think Kimmich for Germany, there's cheaper in the German defence, Mittelstadt.
Yeah.
Koundé for France, I don't think he's going to be featuring in all their games. I think in all 3 of the defence, midfield and strikers, be careful of expensive Spanish players. Just because they're expensive doesn't mean they're in the side. So there are quite a few 4 million plus Spanish options who probably aren't in there. And De Ligt for Netherlands technically is in that 4 million bracket. And again, he's maybe not in the side. Midfield, I had Cole Palmer in addition to the Spanish players as a risk of not being in the side. But if all of a sudden he's somehow in England because of an injury, then you want him. Probably. It's not. He won't be on penalties, will he, ahead of Kane?
I don't. Do you know we call Palmer? Obviously Chelsea's completely ripped it up. He's got in there. He's their talisman. He's turned their season around. I think towards back end of the season they were on a crazy run of wins, and they've got rid of Pochettino after all that. But obviously you're on penalties as well. You're literally picking the ball, doing what he pleases, creating things, shooting. Has he got that ice cold greediness in him within that England squad amongst all those big hitters? Will he pick up that ball and do as he pleases with it, shoot on side? Obviously, he doesn't have penalties.
No.
I don't think he's as good of an option in this game because I don't think he'll play the way he plays for Chelsea for England, even if he starts.
So I think
just an opinion. I mean, he might go on to score 9 goals this tournament, and I hope he does because I think he's a brilliant player. But I just think he's got to work his way into this England setup, and now's not the time for him.
He's not there yet, is he? He's not there yet. So from strikers, again, there are various Spanish and French players who I don't think will play. So just beware of some of them who will not play. In Germany, similarly, is Füllkrug going to play? Is Müller going to play? No, Müller's probably not going to play. Is Havertz going to play? They're all tempting if they do play. And when we've got that quarter of an hour before the deadline, maybe that's worth going for. And the other one, João Felix was my original enabler in the strikers to then go big elsewhere. But I don't think he's getting enough minutes in the friendlies, and he's not scoring enough for Portugal. It's amazing for Barcelona, incredible, but for Portugal, not quite there yet.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah,
it's an extensive list.
Yeah, I agree with the goalkeepers. I have anything over 4 million is an avoid just because of the points the goalkeepers get. It's very unlikely they're going to score more than say 8 points. Hopefully they get these in this new tournament. They'll get the bonus sorted out because they didn't score. I think one goalkeeper got 1 bonus point in the whole season last year. That was Fabianski. So hopefully they said they're going to look into that, and they've changed some of the scoring system. So hopefully that works. I'm a bit worried about Saliba for France. I think 4.5 million. He's only started 3 of the last 6 games. I think he's the best French centre half, but will Deschamps start him? He started tonight, but yeah, I think he's a bit dodgy. Midfield, I think Sane 5.5 million. He looks like he's not starting. Germany have been playing a pretty similar team in all the friendlies, and he hasn't been starting. It's been I forgot now. Musiala and who was the other one? Florian Wirtz from Leverkusen have been playing on the wings with Gundogan playing in the 10 position. So he looks like he won't start. And Coman for France as well, 4.5 million. I can't see him starting. Strikers wise, I think anything below 6 million and above 4 million, I think is an avoid. There's nothing really there that I like. They're all a bit rotationally, like you just said with João Felix and obviously Giroud. Giroud started tonight, but Giroud, I can't see him starting in the Euros. But you never know. Deschamps likes Giroud, doesn't he? But yeah, I wouldn't bother. I'd just go big or go a couple of big ones and maybe try one of the cheaper ones out, like a Gakpo or something like that.
Yeah, I think Giroud was captain tonight, but that's the extent. He might have been captain tonight and then not start the next match. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Is Gundogan on penalties for Germany?
Yes.
That's is he captain?
I think he is, isn't he? Let's double check that.
I think you're right. And I think in certain matches he started, he's starting in a very attacking position as well. So
we know how good he is on getting on end of things in box.
I can't believe he's playing number 10 though. Like, you should get Sane in the team and drop that Andrick that's been playing in the double pivot and put Gundogan in double pivot and just go on. You can roam forward now and again, try and get in there, but make sure you come back.
Yeah, it'd be crazy having Sane in your squad and not using him and utilising him because he is a good player. Gundogan's interesting option there, isn't he? I think you've pretty much covered that, lads. I could add a few names in there. Like you say, you covered the strikers pretty well there, Ben. Basically, let's just do it between price points. Because Morata, 5.5 million. Really? I know he's going to troll me, and he's probably going to end up top scorer of the tournament. But yeah, for 5.5 million from Morata, you got to go Lukaku or Ronaldo.
Yeah, did I say 6 million? Lukaku's 5.5, isn't he? Yeah, I meant Lukaku's in the good.
Yeah, I think you're looking at Lukaku above.
Yeah,
and then you've got obviously, Lewandowski at Poland. He flies to deceive, doesn't he, in these tournaments?
Yeah.
Was he not the one where he hadn't scored a tournament goal for?
Yeah.
That's Lewandowski, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, did he score a penalty in the last final game?
And he looked very nervous.
Yeah, shitting himself, thinking, Jesus Christ, I've got to score this. But yeah, he always flatters to deceive. Obviously, he's had great goal scoring records through his club career. Obviously, a quality striker, but just for Poland, it's just never quite worked on the big stage.
It's also that is the group with France and the Netherlands in it. So do you back them against two of those?
No, I can't see him having much at ball, so it's one of them. There's a lot of dodgy players within there that might catch you out. But again, you've got me sat here slagging Marat off, and he might come back, and you might all be laughing at me. Game Tony, you've done all right for yourself. But try and avoid those players. Good question, that Doubles. Well, it's been a nice long one. That's the questions covered.
I think there's on the just in the chat. There's been one more from Ben Coles on is Bellingham a must-have?
Oh, go on. There we go. Is Bellingham a must-have?
Which, having obviously picked up on that, thought about it a bit. I'm not sure he is. I think he's a great option. I think he's an unbelievably good player who is hopefully going to be a bit talismanic for us in the next few tournaments, to be fair. So I just think you compare him to Bruno Fernandes at the same price, who is on penalties for Portugal. I'm not sure he's a must-have. If you can fit him in your side, he's very good, but not a must-have or essential.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that, Matt. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I agree. Bellingham hasn't even come in my side just for that price. It's just too much. I mean, you can get Bruno Fernandes for the same price, like you just said. And England have got so many good players that anyone could score a goal. There's no obviously there's a talisman and Kane, but there's no one in midfield who I think, they'll definitely stand out for England. Obviously Foden's had a fantastic season. Bellingham's had a fantastic season. Saka's brilliant, but they're so expensive. Which one is going to stand out? And Bruno Fernandes is the best midfielder for Portugal, and they have a better group than England. So I think Bruno Fernandes is worth the money more than Bellingham.
Yeah, completely agree. Well, that's it, lads. We have, obviously, the games kick off this Friday, 8 o'clock. Germany-Scotland kicks the tournament off. So the deadline's 7 o'clock. Should get a little bit of team news earlier than that. I think we're on a deadline stream, are we, Ben?
Yeah, deadline stream. Was it 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I am on alert shift at work, but I think I'm going to have to try and get that sorted out. Whether I come onto the pod at work or whether I just take a half day or something. So we'll sort it because it's a big one. Needs to be on the live stream.
Yeah. Obviously, make sure you get involved with the mini leagues as well. We've got going. We got the tag team mini league. So get your mate involved. Is it £10 each?
Yeah, £10 each, £20 a team.
Yeah. And we got the big Euro mini league as well with prizes for every game week for the top 3 teams, top 3 managers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit different. Obviously, there's a lot of cash leagues that fly around, so a lot of them end up now with a one-team rule. You end up with the same winners, so we try and mix it up a little bit. Give each match, game week. What is it? Round of games. Each round of games, your points are tallied up. The first, second, and third will get a prize each round of games. And we'll also have the overall winner, first, second, third. Tag team league, again, going off the success of the tag team league in the standard format of the game. That comes back to the Euros. We're going Euro wide with you, mate. So make sure you get yourself a partner. If you haven't got a partner, give us a message and we will find you one. We're a little bit like Match.com. We will get you a partner to team up with. Both give you tenors in and see how you do. Could be the start of a fruitful partnership. You never know. But Matt, thanks very much for coming on, mate. I know we always leave it a little bit last minute with you, don't we? But
that's okay.
It's always a pleasure to have you on, and hopefully we will be seeing you soon in another meetup, mate.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure. You're doing a great job on the podcast, so well done.
Cheers, Matt. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to all our patrons who have signed up recently. Thanks to all our long-standing patrons who have completely supported this pod from the start. You're all legends. We're going to do our best to take you through these Euros, and I hope to God we have the winner of the Euros within our group and our patron. Best of luck, everybody, and we'll see you on Friday. Take care.
Cheers, everyone.